Welcome to Leading Thoughts from LeadingAge New Jersey. I'm Michelle Kent, President and CEO of LeadingAge New Jersey. We represent and advocate on behalf of senior serving facilities and programs across the state. Today, I am delighted and honored to have as our special guest the Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly, the Honorable Vincent Prieto. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. First of all, it's 10 months in already, but congratulate you on being selected. It's quite an honor. It speaks volumes to your peers' confidence in your ability to lead.
Well, for me, it's a tremendous honor to have been, selected by my peers, and it's been a learning experience. It's a daunting amount of work, but it's very rewarding. And seeing a lot of the things that I always envision of doing, seeing come to fruition, it's wonderful.
That is wonderful indeed. Let me also thank you for supporting increased funding to Medicaid facilities for nursing homes and assisted living facilities, particularly with the budget you all just went through and the challenges. I think it speaks volumes to your understanding how important it is to keep quality services available for frail elderly across the state, so thank you.
That's very important. Being the former budget chairman, I sort of got it, I understood it. Going through all the hearings, I know we have to take care of the people that paved the way for us, so that's very important to me.
Well, thank you for that. Let me just start, if you don't mind, by having you discuss some of your overall priorities as you lead this House through its almost second year.
Well, when I first came in my initial speech, I talked of certain things that I wanted to do, and I've been sort of whittling away at that a little bit at a time. There was a bill that was in the legislature for about 30 years that it was to give adoptees the ability to get their birth certificates with their health records, which I thought was very important. So I think that was something we negotiated. The governor did a conditional veto, but everybody was good with it. We signed that into law, so that I think was an accomplishment for many people, and it actually has a health component, and some of these people are more elderly that needed to have that for them. And then on top of it all, everybody wants to know where they come from. Right. So I think that was very important. That was one of them. The other thing that I always envision is we spend a lot of money in education for our children, and our children are our future. But we have focused a lot, everybody, for college. We have sort of forgotten about technical and vocational education. Right. So we are actually, today, we're passing a couple of those bills. That it was a package of 7 bills. Most of them are ready. They'll be going to the governor's desk within the next few days, and very excited about that. That's something that's been very innovative that we're doing, because we need to see what employees, employers, and companies out there need, and we need to prepare for the future, because we're talking about manufacturing. Manufacturing is not quite what it used to be when we were younger. It's a little bit different, so moving into the future, I think these will be important jobs.
I saw that was on your agenda, and I have read about it, and I think particularly with your professional background, it must be near and dear to your heart to get that through.
Yeah, for a person that I actually started college, but then that's another component. We'll talk about college affordability in a minute, but it was important for me. I went into the trades, and you could do, make a good living, and it's out there, and people should know about it, and know that option always exists. And not that you can't go back then and reinvent yourself and do something else if you want to be a teacher or whatnot. You should be able to be afforded every angle that you can take advantage of. College affordability is another one that we will be, we have a voting session today. We will be taking on some of those bills, which some of them are like tuition freeze, that for 4 years you would have the same tuition, so it doesn't scale and becomes you start college and then suddenly it's not affordable. To make sure that colleges have put on them a requirement that they have to be graduated by X amount of time. So kids just don't linger out there and then just accrue more debt, and make sure we get them out and into the workforce productive. So college affordability has been another thing that I've been championing. So there's a few, there's Assemblywoman Riley, that's the chair of higher education, and Assemblyman Crine that have been championing some of these bills that I support, and I'm looking forward to seeing them move.
Well, they're certainly very important topics. Could you talk for a minute about the Caregiver Act? I know that was something else you were behind.
Yeah, that's and hopefully that is going to be on the governor's desk, or is already on the governor's desk. Hopefully he'll sign it. I've had conversations. I think it's very important because right now the Caregiver Act it's a bill that really doesn't cost anything, but it gives the ability for people to have the access when people get discharged, for somebody to be able to help them to administer their medicines
from the hospital, right?
From the hospital. Because one of our biggest problem is readmissions. People that leave the hospital, a lot of times what they have to do from moment one, they don't do them. And so we need to make sure that that is important for, especially for our seniors, to have somebody that they can count on. So we're trying to take away some barriers that were there, and talking with the industry and try to get a middle ground so everybody was comfortable. There's always confidentiality issues, so we needed to get beyond that. And I think this bill struck a great balance to help the people.
I think Oklahoma is the only other state, as I understand, to have anything like this. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
It will affect seniors a lot because sometimes discharge instructions are very complicated. And to have a caregiver trained in exactly what to do, I think will increase the overall health of New Jersey citizenry.
Absolutely, and that's what we sort of want to promote wellness, and I think this is a great step toward that.
It does, yes, indeed. So if I could segue a little bit to senior issues at the moment. As you well know, Mr. Speaker, the nation and New Jersey is aging very rapidly. And as a state, we need to be very prepared on all fronts for that increased number of aging people. And I just wondered if you had any thoughts about that.
Well, it's very important to make sure that we're very mindful. And as I said before, the older population is the one that paved the way for us. So we got to make sure we take care of them and we put things in place. And that's why when I was the budget chairman, we always advocated for Medicaid, Medicare, to make sure we get as much as we can from the federal funding to make sure that that's out there for them. We talked about going to managed care.
Yes.
And managed care, I think it's a great concept. I think there's still some bugs in it that we need to work out, and we need to make sure that we don't forget about other things like nursing homes that potentially at the end of the day need to be there. We can't have them fail.
Did you read my script? You knew exactly where I was going. Yes, no, thank you.
Those are things that are important and have been important to me, and as the former chairman of budget, these issues were things that were brought to us, and this population was probably the most vocal during those times. So it educated me quite well.
That's good to know. You talk about Medicaid managed care, which has now expanded for long-term services and supports. And first of all, I want to thank the state. They did a great job, the executive branch, frankly, in helping get all the stakeholders together so we could design this program to be as effective as possible. We all know that keeping seniors in their home as long as possible is very good public policy, and certainly my members all support that. However, many people will still need at some point a nursing home, or that type of care, and they won't be able to stay at home. So for us, it's very important that we keep a strong continuum of care and not just focus on in-home care, because when people get to a nursing home and they're older and frailer, frankly, they cost more. So we want to ensure that the funding is there to keep strong quality services for those seniors.
And you're 100% right with all that, because we want to keep our seniors at home as long as we can. We're actually going through that right now with my mother-in-law. So it's a difficult times, and sometimes it's not as good as we think, that they need to have a care and people come in. So we need to make sure we have the right amount of time available to them, and how we can make their lives as comfortable as possible. But then we can't lose sight of the other entities, which are nursing homes, that, as you said, it'll be an older, more frail, sicker population, but that there will be a need for them. So I've always advocated for making sure we properly fund them, because if you don't fund them, then potentially some of those facilities will not be there. And if they fail and are not there, what do we do then when we need to segue into that aspect? And it's something that normally a lot of times we think it's way down the road and you don't want to think about it, but it does. And we have to stay mindful.
Right. Well, thank you for your breadth of understanding on that topic. I really appreciate it, and I know my members do. Speaking of LeadingAge New Jersey members, how can they best keep the legislature informed about the issues and things that are of concern to them? Not because it's the facility per se or the program, but the seniors that they care for.
Yeah, and you know what? It's very important for us to be educated. And the dialogue, it's important. Groups like this need to come out to us and let us know and educate us, because we deal with, hundreds of thousands issues on a daily basis, and we're not experts on everything, so we need to be informed. And a lot of times necessity is the mother of invention. When you see that there's a necessity for something, we need to figure out how we can solve that problem. And how do we get more funding, how do we get more services, and especially in these tough economical times, it's very difficult. So a lot of times you have to do more with less, or how do we accomplish that? But never forgetting that we need to make sure that for our elderly, we need to make sure we take care of them. So an education processes for us, that dialogue, we can, calling to our offices, advocating groups are always important to us to educate us on the issue. So that's a way of letting us know what you need so we can best help you.
Great, thank you for those tips. Let me close by thanking you and saying that I think the people of New Jersey are very well served by your leadership, and certainly we wish you the strength and courage to tackle all of New Jersey's issues, and I am personally delighted to have had you as our guest, so thank you.
It's my pleasure. I'm here to try to make the quality of life for every resident of New Jersey better, so we're trying to do the best we can, and I look forward to working with you and with all of the residents, I guess, to make New Jersey an even better place to live.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, very much. And to our viewers, thank you. If you'd like to learn more about LeadingAge New Jersey, please visit our website, www.leadingagenj.org, or you can tweet us at LeadingAge NJ. Thank you very much.